everyone, what's up? This is Simon from DevDectic, back with a new, not really a tutorial today, but more a list of tools and services every Ionic developer should know about. So I've been working with Ionic for quite some time now, and over the years I've found some services to be really helpful, especially if you're on a budget or if you're starting on your own only with free tools. So let's take a look at 10 cool tools. The first one being the one that I got the most questions about in my videos. So the editor I'm using to write my Ionic code is called Visual Studio Code. You can download it for free for Mac and both Windows. As you can see, normally it has a more dark UI, but I picked this lighter UI for the videos and actually got used to it. I'm not completely sure about the science behind it, which color is actually better for the eyes, but somehow I got used to this and I'm using the light color. There are a lot of extensions that you can install. So then if you type something, they will come up immediately. I'm not using a lot of them, but there's some good TypeScript additions, some Angular stuff that you can immediately use. I don't know. Whatever, if you don't know about them. So Visual Studio Code, great tool, definitely my choice. If you're using something else, that's totally cool. If you know how to use JetBrains or WebStorm or Sublime, Atom, whatever it is, that's cool. But for me and for a lot of Ionic and Angular developers, Visual Studio Code is the #1 tool to edit their apps. You can dive into the files pretty easy. So everything for me just works. All right, second tool is the developer tools of your browser. And I hope everyone should already know about this. But if you don't know and run your Ionic app, it's pretty hard to debug anything. So simply open the developer tools somewhere from the menu. They're in Chrome, Safari, in Firefox, I think as well. I think they're everywhere. And in here, you got basically everything that you need. You got a console with all the logs. You can inspect all the requests made by your AP, your app. You can inspect the elements, maybe the biggest thing for your app. So dive into them, whatever, play around with CSS, try out different things. So that's where I spend actually the most time. But you can even go into our, or what else cool, you can go into the Ionic storage database and see the stored keys. You can check your PWA stuff for the service workers. And you can also, go to your Webpack bundle and then from here somewhere find your code. It's pretty, I hope not my face is not above this. So here is your actual app code. Let's do a little refresh and you see we can even set breakpoints in here. So maybe one day we will have a bit better integration of the developer tools and Visual Studio Code. That would be great. Maybe this comes with Ionic Studio, I don't know. But anyway, it is a great way to debug your apps, and as well you can remote debug your APK on Android device, and with Safari you can also connect to the simulator or your iOS device to debug your app. So definitely the thing you need to know a lot about to debug your apps as fast as possible. All right, tip number 3 is using Git. So if you set up a new app, actually they already create some node modules in here. They already automatically create the git ignore file for you with some information what should be left out. If you don't know about all of this, you can follow a little link and check out the docs how everything works. But let me just show you one cool tool. So I've added it and I used a tool called source tree like this. So I made an initial commit where I added all the code I made in the beginning, and then I mess up somehow my code in here. I don't know how to get back. I simply check the stages and I see what I changed in here. So then I can either commit the things, which is no good idea right now, or I can reset it and then all the code is back So just a super short idea what Git is. It is actually a lot more and super powerful for teams, but I've seen developers using the Dropbox for code or whatever code sharing. So please, you can have free repositories on GitHub or on Bitbucket everywhere, and then use a graphical tool like SourceTree. There's no reason not to use Git inside your apps. Ionic apps already come with it in the beginning, so simply add your code, use it, and thank me later. All right, tip number 4 is a service called Ionic App Flow. And for Ionic App Flow, this is actually, I think, from my list, one of 2 paid tools. So with Ionic App Flow, it's basically where Ionic is making part of their income from. Ionic is free, so on some way they need to make money to maintain and keep up this great team. So Ionic App Flow is a suite of services for DevOps, and I also, of course, got an account. So in here, you basically connect your Ionic app using Git to the Ionic App Flow, which was previously called Ionic Pro and Ionic Cloud, I think. And then you see the commits you make to your own app, and you can immediately call actions like start a web build or start a package build, which means you can actually build your native app for iOS in the cloud. If you set up the certificates, you can immediately deploy code changes to an app that's already in the App Store, which is called Hot Reload, and that's super cool. And yes, this is legal. They're only changing HTML and CSS and JavaScript. So if you change Cordova plugins, you have to go through the submission again because this changes native code. But for the bundle of your app, you can actually use this Hot Reload to push fixes, which you can actually also monitor with Ionic App Flow. You got the source maps and you got some automation stuff. So it's a really powerful service, especially for teams. Pricing starts at, I think you can even get started for free. For companies, I don't know how much it is. Okay, quite a bit. But the starter is free, so maybe just give it a try. And also what I forgot in the previous step is the Ionic Dev app. Debugging with the browser is already cool, and getting your app on the device with the Dev app is actually super cool, because you just need to run Ionic Serve, and then you download this app to your device. It's also for Android. Start it, and then you will see the local instance. If your device and your Mac or Windows PC are connected to the same Wi-Fi, then you see the Ionic Serve instance. You can open the app and immediately get the app on your phone, which is pretty awesome because you don't have to run the package build and then deploy it to the device, which takes some time. Just be aware that there are not all plugins available inside the Dev app. If you're using, I don't know, some file system stuff, it might not work like you expected, so be a bit careful, but otherwise it's just a great service. All right, we come to number 5 and we close this, which is Firebase. Firebase is, just great. I've used it since years for my projects. It is a backend as a service, I would say. Previously, it was just a real-time database, but actually 4 or 5 years ago already, Google acquired Firebase, and by now it got so many features. We got the database where we can easily store documents and connect it with our Angular app. We got storage where we can upload files. We got hosting where we could upload our Ionic PWA. We got the authentication that can easily be integrated into our app with different providers. And finally, we also got cloud functions, which I just recently used to set up payment handling with webhooks and incoming requests. They're super powerful. We could talk hours about only the cloud functions. So if you don't know about Firebase yet, definitely make sure to check it out. It is free to get started. As you can see right here, you can have, I don't know how many projects, but a lot, I think. So they're free, they're easily to use, you don't need a backend, you got authentication. It's just an amazing tool to build your apps with a great backend that you could actually scale at a later point once your user base grows. So this got everything you need for a backend if you don't want to write your own backend. All right, tip number 6, and now we come to a little bit more of the design side. Ionic apps look good, they're fine, but we also need to take care of the design. And maybe your team has a designer, which is great. Maybe you're working on your own, or you just don't want to hire a designer. In that case, you need some creative input, and for this, I always pick Dribbble. In Dribbble, you don't really need an account. You can sign up, but you can browse around for free and then look at some cool things designers upload, what they created, so you can get some nice inspiration from these views for your own app, and that would be step 1. And then also, let's say you browse in here and you see whatever, this nice color scheme looks pretty cool. You can find all the colors right here, and when you click on them, you can even get to another page where designs related to that color are listed. Okay, so you could also update the color and pick something else, and then you see different designs. And that's something pretty cool because you can define your primary and secondary colors looking at professional designs and see which colors look good with each other. So there's a color theory behind this, and I have no degree in design or anything related to it, but still, if you find that something looks good, just take a look at their primary colors and then use them in your own app, which I would like to show you using the color generator, but the page is somehow not yet available. It was available with the beta. In here you can create what's already inside your app right here. So those colors could be easily created from a color generator. Maybe this is up once you watch the video, and then you use the colors from here, apply them to the color generator, create this great file, and then your app immediately looks like a designer defined all the great colors in the scheme of your application. So then just make sure to use stuff like primary and secondary for the right buttons in the right places, and you got a great design in terms of colors for your app. All right, besides the colors, number 7 now is the icons inside your app. And you might have noticed already that no, we haven't used any in here, I think, or do we know? That your Ionic app comes with some cool icons that you can easily use, and they're called Ionicons. For all the old Ionic devs, this is not something new, but they're updated regularly, currently version 4.5.5, and they get better all the time. And these icons, which are quite a few if you take a look at ionicons.com, can be used completely for free inside your Ionic app, and they're immediately there. So if you will build a tab bar or whatever icons and buttons, just grab the code from here, search for something, and then you're fine, and your app immediately looks nice. If for some reason your icon is not in here, I don't know what might be missing. YouTube, no, of course YouTube is there. I don't know, for some reason the icon is missing. In that case, you can still use the good old FrontAwesome inside your app. I got a cool tutorial on the topic of including FrontAwesome with your Ionic 4 app. It should be linked somewhere below the video or in the related tutorial to this video, of course. And in here, you should really find all the icons you need. There as well, just like the Ionicons, free, most of them, or I don't know if most of them, but most that you need, I would say. For some, you might need a pro license required, but you see, so most of the time you should find the right icon even for free. And if you're not having money to buy any icons, I think you're fine with the free icons that are provided within FrontAwesome and Ionicons. All right, step or tool or service number 8 This is something that I just recently discovered in some indie hacker post, I think, and that's a service called Undraw. So from the outside, this doesn't look like a huge thing, but I think it's pretty awesome because everything that you see here can be used for free, and the things you see here, the SVGs, are pretty cool actually. So they can easily be scaled inside your app. There are a lot of things. So if you search for whatever job, maybe for my job board, I need something. So I find cool resume or job hunt. This looks pretty good. And I don't need a designer for this. And the most impressive thing about this is if you've created your color scheme upfront using the designs on Dribbble, you can now go right up here, insert your color code. Maybe you picked some cool green, whatever, and boom, all the icons changed and now fit the identity of your own app. And this is, yeah, I'm speechless that this service is still free. So simply pick whatever cool color and boom, everything is in the color that you need. And you can use it on your pages, I don't know which places. They're really good designs. They look like some professional made them. Of course, they need to match your target audience a bit. So they're quite hip, I would say. Maybe not for all business to business apps, but in most cases, they should be pretty fine. Even for a developer, we got a cool, yeah, I need definitely 6 screens, yeah. Whatever. Those are great designs. They are for free. They can be in the color that you need them. So why shouldn't you use them? It's great. All right, we come to number 9, like this, which is code documentation. And just like I showed you Git in the beginning, code documentation is also something that I think we shouldn't have to talk about, but let's do it for a second because I've seen many apps in which there was no code documentation because the people just didn't know how to do it with Angular. But there's this cool tool, library, framework, whatever, for Angular called Compodoc, which allows you to create a cool, maybe we can even take a look at the demo. It creates a page like this where all your README files are, then whatever documentation stuff, and then all your components are listed here with their functions, inputs, and everything. And you just have to take care of doing the code documentation inside your JavaScript classes. So if you're in whatever, I don't know, yeah, you see I haven't used it a lot lately because I was working on my own projects. But if you're working with a team or maybe think your project gets pretty big over time, you should have some code documentation in place, and Compodoc is great for this. I also got a nice tutorial for this. Again, it's linked below or in the post on how to get started with Ionic and Compodoc. So that's really great. And this is, of course, the according thing. It's for Ionic 3, but this should totally work with version 4 as well. All right, and finally, tool number 10 or service number 10 is my very own Ionic Academy. I'm pretty sure that this is the best place to learn Ionic as fast as possible. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend it to Ionic developers. I'm running this now since 2 years. So the library of courses has stacked up to 30 plus courses, many quick wins. The member base is growing all the time, and there's a lot of interaction now on our Slack channel and also in the community. Maybe in the community not too much, but in the Slack channel more. And I'm sure that this is a great way to get started with Ionic or to broaden your knowledge about different things inside Ionic and stay up to date about all the developments. So, of course, this is not free, but you can get started for like a big lunch per month, or maybe even for the yearly membership. maybe even as a team if you plan to use Ionic at work. Also, which allows you to give access to different developers of your team, 3, 5, or even 10. And I'm sure that I can do my best to help you learn Ionic as fast as possible inside. I even recorded this cool video, so now my face is here and another face here, so it's like a Simonception now, right? Okay, so make sure to watch this video. I put a lot of work and thought in it, so it's pretty deep. All right, these were my 10 tools and services that every Ionic developer should know. I hope maybe some of them were new to you. Of course, this list is not finished yet. I could go on with another 10 without any problems, but I would love to know what your favorite tools are. If I missed something that definitely needs to be in the list, then I will add it in maybe another video. Maybe we can come up with 10 community tools that you recommend. So leave a comment below the video. Make sure to subscribe and head over to the Ionic Academy if you want to learn Ionic as fast as possible. So go check it out and have a great day.